How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Mullen, which was up just over 18% on the day. Considering that the market was trading fairly flat, it did finish red, but we could see that Mullen had demand in the market. There was a lot of buying that was going on. We'll talk about it further in the video. I won't be wasting any more time. Let's jump into the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we had timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in the bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis from Mullen. Let's see how it performed on the day. So it ended up closing at $1.17, being up 18.28%. On the low, it tested 98 cents, and then on the high, testing $1.18. So when we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 62.893 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 63.931 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, but we did see a good amount of strength in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it's at 41.32. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 200-day, the 100-day, the 50-day, and as well as the 21-day EMA. And it's clear to see that Mullen is in a bear market, trading below all of our major moving averages. And what we've been seeing in a technical sense, Mullen has been forming higher lows for the past two trading days, and we ended up seeing a high at $1.18. And if you remember what I said in my previous video, we want to see Mullen get to the 21-day EMA, which at the time of the video was around 135, and of course now it's right around 133. So if we get a move going to 133, it could get really interesting for Mullen, because if we could hold support at this 21-day EMA and have some more buying coming into the play, then the next area where we'll start seeing some resistance will be right here around 164. And breaking through 164, that's where I want to see us get to the 50-day moving averages, which is around $1.89. We also do know that $2 is a psychological area for Mullen, so we can't forget about that. So there will be a good amount of selling pressure. Many people who are holding on to the play, wanting to unload some bags. But if we have more buyers and more bulls coming in, we can literally break through that $2 level and potentially get a move to the 100-day, which is right around $2.47. I am not saying that this is going to be happening this week. I want to make sure I'm being clear about that. But if we follow through on a technical sense and there's continues to be demand in the market and a lot of buying, that's what it could look like as far as for the upside. If it decides to pull back, we had support right around 98 cents. So what I'd want to see from Mullen, will it be able to actually form a higher low? Will it be able to do it again? So if the low today was at 98 cents, maybe going into tomorrow, what you want to look for is anything maybe around $1. Could $1 hold? If not, we could just pull back and decide to consolidate in the 90 cents range as well, which is not too bad because it still can get it ready for the next move up, especially if we have some catalysts that come out and so forth. Now let's move on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Mullen. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions, while red rows indicate closed positions. When we look at the filings for the 16th, we have Adam Investors LP that purchased 24,241 shares. We have Wolverine Trading LLC that went in with a put of 165,800 shares. And we have Wolverine Trading LLC again with 33,229 shares. Wolverine Trading with calls, and that's at 384,100 shares. And we have Shunfield Strategic Advisors LLC with 113,100 100 shares. Just Invest LLC with 38,643 shares. We have Shea Capital LLC with calls with a value of 10,000 shares. And we have Subsequent International Group LLP with a put value of just over 1.2 million shares. And we have HRT Financial LP that purchased 800,506 shares. Now, when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 27.49%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 17.85 million shares. Scrolling down on the page, the short shares availability is at 5.2 million, updated 28 minutes ago, and then for the short borrow fee rate, it is at 3.84%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 12th, it was at 23.53, and then for the close of the 13th, being at 27.49. So one thing that shows us when taking into consideration the short interest percentage of the float being at 16.78%, Mullen does have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution. Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Mullen. So we see on the inflow, it is at 17.13 million, and then on the outflow, it's at 13.98 million. So we had an inflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown, on the large, it was 4.35 million. On the medium, it was 9.97 million, and then on the small, it was 2.81 million. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 4.32 million. On the medium, it was 7.68 million, and then on the small, it was 1.98 million. Taking a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for May the 16th, which is today, we end up having that inflow of just under 30,000. And then analyzing the numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 22.64%. So we know that Mullen is a volatile stock, and that's part of the reasons why you want to have a strategy when you're inside of this play. And one thing that we cannot ignore, it did very well considering the market conditions. Now let's move on to the final thoughts, and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Mullen, before we go into the price action, let's go over the recent press release that brought a lot of excitement into the stock. So let's get it. Mullen and development partner take solid-state polymer battery cell technology to the vehicle pack level. An emerging electric vehicle manufacturer announces today an update on its partnership with Linghang Guangcheng. I'm going to go straight to the paragraph, and this is what we're going to be focusing on. Mullen and LGG are on track with their existing partnership, which was originally started in late 2019 and subsequently sidelined in 2020 due to the COVID-19 outbreak. In recent months, the two companies have made progress and are pleased to announce they have started integration of the solid-state polymer cell technology into the vehicle pack level. Mullen has announced previously that solid-state polymer batteries are currently planned for the second generation of the Mullen 5 EV crossover. Data collected from the solid-state cell testing shows impressive results for solid-state batteries, including potential range of 600 miles on a full charge and over 300 miles of range delivered in 18 minutes with DC fast charging. So this is definitely some great news for Mullen and brings a lot of confidence to shareholders. They have operations going and they are making breakthroughs with their technology, and we can't wait to see how it's going to perform in their vehicles. And I know many are going to be keeping an eye on this play. It's going to be getting a lot more attention. And that makes me want to talk about the price action. So we ended up seeing Mullen getting to $1.18 for the high of the day. And I must say that was fairly impressive. Remember what we were talking about in the previous video? We wanted to see if he can get to the 21-day EMA, which is around $1.35. Of course, it has changed to $1.33, but if Mullen can reclaim this level sometime this week, it can get very interesting, because if it can hold support there, then you want to see Mullen making a move going to around $1.65, or I should say $1.67. And if it breaks through that level, we want to see if it can get to the 50-day moving average, which is right around $1.89, and we do know that $2 is a psychological area. I am not saying there's a good chance for Mullen to get to $2 this week. I want to make sure I'm being clear. I'm just showing if we continue to have demand in the market and and there's a lot of buying pressure for this stock, then we could see a possibility of it actually getting there. So add that to your homework. So the next question, where do we want to see support holding up? I would say right at $1. We ended up seeing a low at 98 cents. And since we have been showing some strength in the technical sense, forming higher lows for the past 2 trading days, holding $1 will continue that trend. If not, I want to see Mullen continue to hold up at least the 90-cent range. And if it wants to consolidate for it to get ready for the next move up, then I have no problems with that. And as far as for the downside is concerned, I've gone over it many times inside of these videos, so you already know what that looks like. But we do know for a fact we haven't tested support at 73 cents. We had strength at 75 cents, so I'm expecting those levels to continue to hold unless the market just falls off a cliff or some bad news comes out. Also, when we went on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership, we can see that institutions have been loading up on shares. Plus, on top of that, when we take a look at the short interest information, Mullen does continue to have short squeeze potential. So that's why if you're going to be inside of this play, you want to do your homework and making sure you're taking advantage of the right entry. This is very crucial. Many people sending me messages saying, Dre, I'm happy I bought in the 70-cent range and I'm just riding these profits all the way through. I want to say congratulations to you, and that's why I always say patience pays off. So if you're still inside of this play, I just want to remind you, make sure you're using the right risk management because it is a speculative play, and I'm going to continue to say that. This company has not shown any consistent revenue or profitability whatsoever. So as long as you know that and be aware that you're investing in the potential of the company, I think that should be enough to give you high conviction because you're well aware of what the risks are. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs going into tomorrow. We'll talk soon.